from verse number 20, 19 onwards, Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, sorry, in Dwaraka, specifically with his queens. So all these pastimes are kind of described in brief. Bhagavan api Vishwatma Lokaveda Patanuga Kaman Shisheve Bharavatyam Asakta Sankyamasita.
Simultaneously, the personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dwarka, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. He was situated in detachment and knowledge as enunciated by the Sankhya system of philosophy.
So here Lord Krishna's performance of execution of his household duties following the instructions of the Vedic literature, Veda Pata and also Loka Pata, following the customs that are prevalent in the society during that time. Both Lord Krishna followed very strictly. Kaman Siseve Dwaravatyam in Dwaraka, in relation with his all queens and children, etc., etc. He executed all the household duties as they are prescribed in the Vedic literature and being followed by the society in general. And how did he do? Asakta Sankyam Asita, taking the shelter of knowledge and detachment. He performed all the duties absolutely perfectly with proper understanding of why they should be done and how they should be done, and with complete detachment about the results. He performed all the activities, but is not at all attached to any of the uh, results. So Lord Krishna is trying to set an example of a perfect grihastha. So this is one of the pastime which Lord Krishna performed. If you read 10th canto, there are two chapters vividly describes about this, what all Lord Krishna is doing. Narada Muni visits each and every palace of Lord Krishna, and every palace Lord Krishna is performing various household activities, uh, following all the household duties. So this establishes Lord Krishna being a wonderful householder. Though he is the Vishwatma, the Paramatma of the entire universe, but he himself acted like a householder of this world. That is being mentioned here. Although Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme emperor of the entire creation, while he was on this earth, he never violated the principles of the Vedic injunctions because they are the guide for human life. Regulated human life according to the Vedic principles, which are based on the system of knowledge called Sankhya philosophy, is the real way of enjoyment of the necessities of life. Without such knowledge, detachment, and custom, the so-called human, without that knowledge, detachment, and custom, the so-called human civilization is no more than an animal society of eat, drink, and be merry and enjoy. So Prabhupada writes the importance of following the instructions of Vedic injunctions. The Lord was acting freely as he willed. Yet, by his practical example, he taught not to lead a life which goes against the principles of detachment and knowledge. So, so that is what the purpose with which Lord Krishna executed all household duties. Knowledge means to know that the mission of human form of life is to end all the miseries of material existence, and that in spite of having to fulfill the bodily necessities in a regulated way, one must be detached from such animal life. Fulfilling the demands of the body is animal life, and fulfilling the mission of spirit soul is the human mission. So, in order to set a good example of this, Lord Krishna performed all the household activities. And for more details, you can read Krishna book. There are 2 chapters talking about all the activities of Lord Krishna. So then, how we dealt with these queens, that is mentioned in the next verse. Snigdha smitavalokeena vacha piyusha kalpaya charitrenana vadyena sriniketana chatmana.
He was there in his transcendental body, the residence of the goddess of fortune, with his usual gentle and sweetly smiling face, his nectarine words, and his flawless character.
So, actually, this verse and next verse are closely connected. So, this verse talks about in 4 lines about 4 wonderful aspects of Lord Krishna. These 4 aspects of Snigdha Smitava Lokena. So, this is talking about Avalokena, Lord's sidelong glances. Snigdha, they are actually amicable and very pleasing and very affectionate. So, Lord would actually keep everyone satisfied by his sidelong glances. Only by his sidelong glance he could pass the message and would convey everything to the other person. So everyone would be happy by his sidelong glances. That is one aspect of Lord Krishna's reciprocation with his intimate devotees. Then Vacha Piyusha Kalpaya. This is the second way. By sweet words. By the sweet smiling glances, silent glances, that is one thing. Second is Vacha Piyusha Kalpaya. His words are nectar to the people who are hearing his words. Whenever he would speak with utmost respect, utmost regard. And whoever hears the words of Lord Krishna, that they would consider that Lord Krishna is considering them to be his life and soul. So everyone would be nourished and their life would return by hearing the words of Lord Krishna. They are like nectar, bringing their life back. This is the second aspect of Lord's reciprocation with his devotees. And the third one is Charitrena Anavadyena. His wonderful activities in relation to all the variety of devotees. So he would perform activities in such a way that those devotees would feel utmost satisfaction. Wherever he was there, in whosoever association he was there, he would perform activities accordingly, which will bring unlimited satisfaction to those people at that point of time. So that's why it is called that Charitrena Anavadyena, impeccable character of Lord Krishna. He performs his pastimes without any doubt, without giving any doubt or anything like that. He would act in such a way that everyone around him would feel very happy and very completely satisfied. This is the third way in which Lord Krishna reciprocates with his intimate devotees. Then fourth way is he himself, his personality himself. Sri Niketana Chatmana. The beauty of his divine personality himself is so attractive. Whoever is there around him, they are simply attracted to him like a magnet attracts the iron filings. Even though people might be having 100,000 activities around, but giving up all those things, they are simply attracted to Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna attracted all the people by these 4 things. Snigdha Smitavalokena, by his affectionate sidelong glances, and Vacha Piyusha Kalpaya, and nectar giving rejuvenating words, and Charitra Anavadyena, the impeccable character and activities of the Supreme Lord in relation to the people around him, and his personal beauty itself. With these 4 things, he would actually attract people around him. He would please people around him. Everyone would be very much happy by these 4 things. And who are all became happy by these 4 things of Lord Krishna? That is mentioned in the next verse. Imam lokam mamum chaiva ramayan sutaram yedun reme reme skandaya datta Krishna Sri Krishna Sauhruda.
The Lord enjoyed his pastimes both in his world and in other worlds, specifically in association of the Yadu dynasty. At leisure hours offered by night, he enjoyed the friendship of conjugal love with women.
So, with these four things, whom Lord Krishna gave pleasure? It is mentioned that Imam Lokam, the devotees who are living on this world. Lord Krishna, as he was performing all his manifest pastimes, he traveled to many places, continuously was traveling. And wherever he traveled, all the devotees in all those places, they experienced these these four aspects of Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna gave them complete satisfaction. And Amum Cheva, after this loka, after Bharata Varsha, even when Lord Krishna traveled to heaven, when he met Devatas, etc., even the Devatas are also completely pleased by Lord Krishna's personality. They also received his causeless mercy upon them. All of them, the people on the earth and people in the heaven, both of them received his affectionate dealings. And Amum Cha Iva. And then Ramayan Sutaram Yadun. And more importantly, the Yadus, with whom Lord Krishna spent more time. After the people of this world, then the Devatas, after the Devatas, the Yadus, who received more association of Lord Krishna, who enjoyed, who relished the presence of Lord Krishna's personality and his wonderful sidelong glances and his wonderful words and wonderful activities and interactions, the Yadus. And more than the Yadus, the Lord Krishna's queens had the opportunity of relishing Lord Krishna's personality. Reme Kshanadaya Datta Kshanastri Kshanasahruda. And with his principal queens, Lord Krishna would spend throughout the night, and throughout the day would spend in Sudharma assembly hall and travel to various places, but in the night he would be with queens. And the queens would have the close association of Lord Krishna. They would relish Lord Krishna's pleasing pastimes. So that is being mentioned. The devotees who are living on this earth, Bharatavarsha, then the Devatas in the heaven, and specifically the Yadus, all the Yadus who are living in Dwaraka, and mostly those who relish Lord Krishna's personality to the fullest extent are the 16,108 queens. So that is being mentioned. All these personalities have experienced Lord Krishna's beautiful pastimes. Tasaivam Ramamanasya Samvatsaraganan Bahun Grihamedeshu Yogeshu Viraga Samajayata.
The Lord was engaged in household life for many, many years, but at last his detachment for ephemeral sex life was fully manifested.
So here, Lord Krishna's dealings with his queens are mentioned. Though he is rendering and is doing all the household, executing all the household responsibilities, but he performed everything with Viraga Samajayata, with complete detachment. Though he appeared as a attached householder, but he never had any so-called material attachment. But the acharyas say that with whom Lord Krishna actually dealing with. When someone is dealing with material objects, that is called attachment. But for Lord Krishna, and none of these queens are not material. They are all expansion of Lord Krishna's internal energy. They are all expansion of Srimati Radharani. And apparently from our point of view, it is said that Viraga, with complete detachment, Lord Krishna executed all the household responsibilities. But none of them are material from that point of view. All of them are actually completely spiritual. And Lord Krishna executed all the household duties with complete attachment with all these queens. That is the meaning of this verse. Though the word viraga is mentioned in this verse, but Lord Krishna actually performed all his household activities in relation to the 16,108 queens with complete attachment, because they are all his expansion of his internal energy. They are all expansion of Srimati Radharani and other gopis. So Lord Krishna performed all the pastimes of household order with complete attachment, and this attachment is not at all binding. This is Lord Krishna interacting with his internal energy. If somebody interacts with external energy in that attachment, one can be bound, but not with internal energy. So that is what is indicated in this verse. So that he executed his household responsibilities for many years. Samvatsara Ganan Bahun. So Lord Krishna at the age of 25 he shifted to Dwaraka. Then maybe immediately he married Rukmini. From there all the way up to 125 years he exhibited household order. That means almost 100 years he performed his household pastimes. So it is like pretty long time. So that's why it is mentioned in Samvatsara Ganan Bahun. The many years he performed his householder pastimes in that way. दैवादीनेषु कामेषु दैवादीना स्वयं पुमान् को विश्रम्भेत योगेन योगेश्वरम् अनुव्रता.
Every living entity is controlled by the supernatural force, control of that supernatural force. No one, therefore, can this, but one who has become a devotee of the Lord by rendering devotional service.
So this is same thing is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter when Lord Krishna speaking to Arjuna that become an example for the people in general. Yadyad acharati shrestha tatatyeva itaro jana. That is one verse, etc. And later on Lord Krishna gives his own example. Even though I have to do nothing, still I perform all the activities in order to set an example in this world. Even in the 4th chapter it says that namang karmani limpanti name karma phalaspuha. I perform every activity of the household order, but without attachment to the results. So he is establishing the Nishkama Karma Yoga principle. If anybody follows in my footsteps, they will come back home back to Godhead. So with that intention, Lord Krishna performs these pastimes. Similarly, here Uddhava is telling that one who understands why Lord Krishna performs what he performs, who will become attached to the material sense gratification? No one will. Everyone following the footsteps of Lord Krishna will go back home back to Godhead. That is what is the meaning of this verse. Yogeshwaram Anuvrata. Ko Vishrambeta Yogena Yogeshwara Anuvrata. Who will not worship Lord Krishna following the example set by Lord Krishna. This is possible only for those who have really understood the purpose with which Lord Krishna performs his various pastimes. So in that way, Uddhava is telling. In order to set a good example, Lord Krishna performed all these pastimes, and people who understood this, they follow in the footsteps of Lord Krishna. So this is the glory of devotees in that way. Persons who are themselves under the control of supernatural power cannot believe that Lord Krishna is not under any control beyond himself in the matter of sense enjoyment. They cannot understand that his senses are transcendental. In the Brahma Samhita, the Lord's senses are described as omniscient. That is, with any sense he can perform the activities of the other senses. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti. One who has limited senses cannot believe that the Lord can eat by his transcendental power of hearing and can perform the act of sex life by seeing. Lord Prabhupada is actually taking the reference from Bhagavad Gita. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. That is one thing. And when we offer bhoga, we chant prayers. By hearing those prayers and hearing the sound of the bell, Lord Krishna actually accepts our bhoga. That is what is indicated here. The controlled living entity cannot even dream of such sense activities in this conditioned life. But simply by the activities of Bhakti Yoga, he can understand that the Lord and his activities are always transcendental. Basically, only a devotee can appreciate Lord Krishna's wonderful activities. All other persons cannot exactly understand what Krishna is performing and why he is performing. So only devotees have that facility and they can only follow in the footsteps of Lord Krishna. If others try to follow in the footsteps of Lord Krishna, they simply become imitators. They cannot follow properly. So thus Lord Krishna actually performed so many pastimes in relation to Yadavas and the queens. And now from verse number 24 onwards, the wind-up pastime is being narrated. Already Krishna made a plan and that plan was already pronounced by the mouth of Gandhari, and now it is the 36th year. Like that Lord Krishna spent for 35 years. Now the last year began. Now Lord Krishna is again restarting the final pastime of winding up. That is being discussed in the next 4 verses. Puryam kadachit kridadhir yadu boja kumarakai kopita munaya sepur bhagavan mata kovida.
Once upon a time, great sages were made angry by the sporting activities of the princely descendants of the Yadu and Boja dynasties, and thus, as desired by the Lord.
So Bhagavan mata kovida. Understanding the intention of Lord Krishna, understanding the plan of Lord Krishna, understanding the will of Lord Krishna, at one time taking the joking words of the Yadus, Yadu Kumaras as a plea, Yadu Boja Kumarakai, Kopita Munaya Sepur. The sages became angry and pronounced a curse, which is actually the plan of Lord Krishna itself. Understanding the plan of Lord Krishna, they actually verbally pronounced out that plan, considering the joking words of Yadus as a plea. So now Lord Krishna want to implement that particular pastime of winding up uh, from this world. So in that way. So in the purport, Prabhupada quotes 2 verses from 11th canto, wherein Parikshit Maharaj asked questions of how could the Yadus can be cursed, etc. etc. There was one verse, 11.1.8, which says that how could the Brahmanas curse the Vrishnis, who are always respectable to the Brahmanas, who are always charitable, and who are always inclined to serve seniors, and whose minds were always absorbed in Lord Krishna. How could these Yadus, who are always eager to serve the Brahmanas, eager to serve the great sages, and who are charitably disclosed, and who are always serving Lord Krishna, can play jokes with uh, the great sages to the extent that sages become angry and curse them? It is actually the will of the Supreme Lord. Understanding Mata Kovida, understanding the plan of Lord Krishna, the sages, for no reason, pronounced the plan of Lord Krishna in the form of a curse. So this is all Lord Krishna's will. He is getting into action. Then there is a one more verse which is mentioned in the 10th canto, 90th chapter, one of the last verses, which says that absorbed in Lord Krishna, while sleeping, while sitting, walking, speaking, playing, bathing, and eating, the Yadus did not know that they existed. Yadus does not even know that they are existing. Instead, they are always completely Krishna conscious. While walking, while sleeping, while talking, while eating, their only word is about Krishna. Krishna did this, Krishna did that, Krishna is this, Krishna is that, like that. All their activities are around Lord Krishna. All their talks are around Lord Krishna. If this is the consciousness of the Yadus, how could they perform an activity that is displeasing Lord Krishna? So now the next all verses will tell that it is all Lord Krishna's plan in order to start Kali Yuga. Lord Krishna made a show of all these events happening one after the other, which apparently appears to the internal behavior of the Yadus. So that is being described.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhuji, after the Kurukshetra war, after how many years this pastime took place? Means Yadu,
36th year. 36th year.
Okay.
Pandavas ruled for 35 years. During the 36th year, the Yadus departed. And Lord Krishna departs, and then eventually Pandavas also retired. Prabhupada mentioned the same thing. It is not possible that they could offend any saintly man or sage, nor could the sages who are all pure devotees of the Lord be influenced to anger by any of the sporting activities of the princesses born in the holy dynasty of the Yadu or Bhoja, wherein the Lord himself appeared as a descendant. The cursing of the princess by the sages was another transcendental pastime of the Lord to make a show of anger. But the lesson that can be derived is the princess were cursed in order that one may know that even the descendants of Lord, who could never be vanquished by any act of material nature, were subjected to the reactions of anger by great devotees of the Lord. One should therefore take great care and attention not to commit an offense at the lotus feet of the devotee of the Lord. So this is the lesson we can learn from this entire display of the pastime. तथा कटिपयैर्मासैर्वृष्णिभोजान्दकादया ययुप्रभासं संहृता रतैर्देवा विमोहिता.
A few months passed, and then, bewildered by Krishna, all the descendants of Vrishni, Bhoja, and Andaka, who were incarnations of demigods, went to Prabhasa, while those who were eternal devotees of the Lord did not leave, but remained in Dwarka.
So here it mentioned that what exactly is happening in due course of time. After this curse is being pronounced by the Brahmanas, the great sages, in due course of time, in few months, Lord Krishna requested all the Yadavas, to travel to Prabhas, because Lord Krishna himself created ill omens in Dwarka to wind up the pastimes, and he called all the Yadus, telling that the ill omens have started in Dwarka, looks like it is an inauspicious time. Let us go to Prabhas and worship the Brahmanas, Pitrus, and Devatas, by which we can regain auspiciousness and come back. So that was the instruction by Lord Krishna. Following that instruction, the Yadus went to Prabhas. Yayo Prabhasam Samrutya Rater Deva Vimohita. So here Deva Vimohita has two meanings. The way Deva Vimohita means, so one understanding is, by the illusion created by Lord Krishna, all the Yadus thought that, okay, whatever is happening is really happening. Let us go to Prabhas and perform the worship of the Devatas, Pitrus, and the Brahmanas, and let us come back. That is the potency of Lord's Maya, Deva Maya. Yoga Maya potency is acting upon all the Yadus from that point of view. And other point is, when Lord Krishna appeared in this world, most of his eternal associates also appeared in this world. At the same time, Lord Brahma approached Lord Vishnu on the bank of Kshirodaka ocean and requested Lord Vishnu to come down and reduce the burden of the earth. Then Lord Vishnu told Brahma that I will appear in Yadu dynasty. May all the devatas also appear in the Yadu dynasty and also as Pandavas. So all of them have appeared most of the devatas appeared in the Yadu dynasty. Like Cupid entered into Pradyumna, and Skanda or Kartikeya entered into Samba. Like that, various devatas have appeared in the Yadu dynasty. So basically, one of the amsha of all the devatas appeared in the Yadu dynasty. Now, Lord Krishna wanted all the devatas to go back to Swarga and resume their services. So all the devatas who entered into Lord Krishna's eternal associates forms, they all travel to Prabhas. All the devata portions have traveled to Prabhas. But the original associates of Lord Krishna, they remained in Dwarka, and they enter into Aprakata Leela of Dwarka, who will continue to stay in Dwarka in an unmanifest form. So that is what is indicated by Deva Vimohita. This is again the manifestation of Lord's Yogamaya potency. The Devata portions of all the Yadus, they were traveled to Prabhas. And they from there, after worshipping the Devatas, Pitrus and Brahmanas, they will disappear from Prabhas and they'll go back to heaven and resume their services till the end of the Manvantara period. So that is the plan of Lord Krishna. Tatra snatva pitrun devan rishim chaiva tadambasa sarpayitva ta viprebhyo gavo bahuguna vadadu.
After arriving there, all of them took bath, and with the water of this place of pilgrimage, they offered their respects to the forefathers, demigods, and great sages, and thus satisfied them. They gave cows to the Brahmanas in royal charity.
So having arrived at Prabhas, what they did, that is being mentioned here. So after arriving Prabhas, Tatra, Snatva, they took bath, they wore new fresh garments, and then they worshipped the Pitrus, then they worshipped the Devatas, then they worshipped the Rishis, the great Brahmanas assembled there, and then by offering Tarpana to all of them, whatever oblation supposed to be offered to the Devatas and Pitrus, afterwards, after worshipping the Brahmanas, then they gave so many charities to the priests. Viprebhyo Gavo Bahu Guna Dadu. They gave so many cows in charity. Those cows who are endowed with all good qualities. Some of the cows who are giving abundant amount of milk. Some of the cows are good, auspicious in color. So many things. The cows of auspicious sign, they were given in charity to all the Vipras who are actually performing this particular rituals for Yadus in Prabhas. So thus they actually worshipped the Devatas, Pitrus and Brahmanas. And at the end, they gave all the charities to so many number of cows in charity to all the priests who are performing this particular ritual. Then Prabhupada talks about in this purport about the understanding of Nityasiddhas and Sadhana Siddhas. Among the devotees of the Lord, there are several divisions, namely Nityasiddhas and Sadhana Siddhas. The Nityasiddha devotees never fall down to the region of the material atmosphere, even though they sometimes come into the material plane to execute the mission of the Lord. The Sadhana Siddha devotees are chosen from the conditioned souls. Out of the Sadhana devotees, there are mixed and pure devotees. The mixed devotees are sometimes enthusiastic about fruitive activities and are habituated to philosophical speculation, karma and jnana. The pure devotees are free from all these mixtures and are completely absorbed in the service of the Lord. Regardless of how and where they are situated. Pure devotees of the Lord are not enthusiastic to put aside their service to the Lord in order to go visit holy places of pilgrimage. A great devotee of the Lord in modern times, Sri Narottam Das Tagore, has sung like this: to visit holy places of pilgrimage is another bewilderment of the mind, because devotional service to the Lord at any place is the last word in spiritual perfection. So, in that way, it is mentioned here. Of course, Prabhupada takes into consideration about mixed devotees and pure devotees. Pure devotees, wherever they are, they can worship the Supreme Lord and be happy. But the mixed devotees generally visit holy places and get purified step by step. That is how it is indicated here. The pure devotees of the Lord who are completely satisfied with the transcendental loving service of the Lord, there is hardly any necessity to visit the various places of pilgrimage. But those who are not so advanced have the prescribed duties of visiting pilgrimage sites and regularly performing the rituals. The part of the princely order of the Yadu dynasty who went to Prabhas performed all duties to be done in a place of pilgrimage and offered their pious actions to the forefathers and others. As a rule, every human being is indebted to God, the demigods, great sages, other living entities, people in general, forefathers, etc., for various contributions received from them. Thus, everyone is obliged to repay the debt of gratitude. The Yadus who went to the Prabhas pilgrimage site performed their duties by distributing land, gold, and well nourished cows in royal charity, as described in the following verse. So, whatever duties as they are prescribed in the Vedic literature, here the Yadavas are performing when they visited the holy place pilgrimage of Prabhas. So in the previous verse, it is mentioned about the charity of cows. Now in the current verse, it talks about the charity of various other things. What they gave to the priests who performed that ceremony. Hiranyam rajatam sayyam vashamshi ajinaka kambalan yanam ratani bam kanya dharam vritti karimapi.
The Brahmanas were not only given well-fed cows in charity, but also gold coins, beddings, clothing, animal skin seats, blankets, horses, elephants, girls, and sufficient land for maintenance.
So whatever they need for their sustenance, everything they gave in charity. Of course, not only Yadus, even any other king being mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, they would give all these charities. Even when Lord Vamana came to Bali Maharaj also told all these things. You ask all these things, I will give you. Why you are asking only 3 pairs of land? You take everything, that you need for the entire life like that. The Kshatriyas are always eager to give charity to the Brahmanas. That is their dharma.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
It's true.
Prabhuji, I thought that the Brahmanas were supposed to live a simple life. Is it true, or
Brahmanas lead simple life, yes.
so?
But
Why do they?
they're only qualified person to accept charity.
So what do they do with all this gold and blankets, horses, elephants, girls, and sufficient land for maintenance?
Brahmanas accept from Kshatriyas and they will give to people who are in need. They don't keep everything with them. They
Okay.
only keep as much as they need. Rest all they
Okay.
give away in charity. They don't keep anything with them. They don't accumulate.
Okay. Thank
Accumulation
you.
is not a quality of Brahmana.
Thank you, Prabhu.
If charity is given, they accept it. They don't ask what charity they want. But whatever charity is given by king, they will accept it genuinely, because by accepting they are doing favor to the king. And later on they will give away everything in charity, whatever they have more than they need.
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
if Brahmanas are the only people qualified for receiving charity, they give it to others in distress. They are also Brahmanas, or they are Shudras or Vaishyas or something like that?
See, Prabhuji, one simple thing we have to understand. When charity is given, the giver does not see what they need, what they don't need. The charity is given in abundance. So, but if because Brahmanas are not attached to the material wealth and all, they accept all the charities given by the king. They distribute to the needy. Here, there is another thing. They may distribute to other Brahmanas who are in need. But when it comes to providing necessities for other people, the other people are given only as much as they need. They were not given extra. If the other people who are not self-controlled, if they were given extra, the natural tendency of a person who has extra is to fall down. Whether the kings or the Brahmanas who would give the charity to the needy, they will see what should be given to whom. They have that kind of discrimination.
Okay.
That is always considered. So then, after presenting all these gifts to the Brahmanas and all the priests who are present there performing and all the rituals on behalf of the Yadus, then what happened? Annam chorura samtebhyo datva bhagavadarpanam go viprartha savasura pranamur bhuvi murdabhi.
Thereafter, they offered the thereafter they offered the Brahmana highly delicious foodstuffs, first offered to the personality of Godhead and offered their respectful obeisances by touching their heads to the ground. They lived perfectly by protecting the cows and the Brahmanas.
So then what did they do? Annam chorura samtebhyo bhagavadarpanam. They prepared variety of foodstuffs with plenty of rasas, etc., etc. Then they offer to Supreme Lord. Then the prasad is offered to all the Brahmanas. So, and then, it is mentioned that Go Vipra Artha Asava Sura. These are the qualities of the Yadus. The Yadus in their whole life, they are dedicated to serving the cows, serving the Vipras, serving the Devatas. Their entire life is meant to serve the cows, Brahmanas, and the Devatas and the great sages. And now whatever they are doing is also displaying the same symptoms, the same culture that is being followed by Yadus. They performed all the rituals in order to worship the Pitrus, Devatas, and the great sages. And then they gave cows in gift, and they gave all the variety of things they need, Brahmanas need in gifts. And now finally, at the culmination of the entire ceremony, the boga is offered to Supreme Lord, consisting of multiple variety. And then that prasad is offered to the Brahmanas. When Brahmanas took prasadam, when they are departing from that place, pranamur bhuvi murdabi. All the Yadus fell flat on the ground and they are offering obeisances to the Brahmanas assembled there. This is like final respects they are offering to the Brahmanas, after which the Brahmanas would leave from that place. So this is how they served the Pitrus, Devatas, Rishis, cows and the Brahmanas. This is how the wonderful character of Yadus is being mentioned in these verses. And how could this kind of Yadus can play jokes, pranks with the great sages? And how could the Yadu dynasty be cursed by the Brahmanas, the great sages who became angry with Yadus? They are becoming angry and all. It is according to the plan of Lord Krishna. Their pronunciation of curse upon Yadus is also as per the plan of Lord Krishna. And whatever is going to happen in the future, that is also as per the plan of Lord Krishna, which actually did not happen. So Prabhupada talks,
What did not happen?
We'll discuss. The next two verses talks about that what did not happen. So the behavior exhibited by the descendants of Yadu in the pilgrimage site of Prabhasa was highly cultured and exactly to the point of human perfection. The perfection of human life is attained by following these three principles of civilization. Protecting cows, that they did it. Maintaining the Brahmanical culture, that is, they are maintaining the Brahmanas by giving them charity. And above all, becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. They are all pure devotees of the Supreme Lord. Whoever follows these three, they attain perfection very easily. The perfection of human life is to be elevated to the spiritual world, where there is no birth, no death, no disease, and no old age. That is the highest perfectional aim of human life. Without this aim, any amount of material advancement in so-called comforts can only bring the defeat of human form of life. So this is one of the finite instruction which Prabhupada wanted to imprint upon. Taking reference from the behavior of the Yadus, it says that so we should cultivate these qualities that will enable us to go back home back to Godhead. So in that way. So then Prabhupada says the Yadus are any enlightened family in Vedic culture are trained for attainment of human perfection by total cooperation of service between the different divisions of social orders. Here the Yadus are actually serving the Brahmanas in all respects. Finally, they are falling flat and offering obeisance to the Brahmanas, accepting them to be their gurus. So this kind of culture enables one to go back home back to Godhead. So finally, Prabhupada says, devotional service is the only criterion for a bona fide offering to the Lord. The Lord assures that he positively eats such foodstuffs offered to the devotees. So, judging from all sides, the Yadus were perfectly trained civilized persons, and their being cursed by the Brahmana sages was only by the desire of the Lord. The whole incident was a warning to all concerned that no one should behave lightly with Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. In order to bring out this lesson, the entire display by the Supreme Lord is manifested here. So, in the next two verses, the removal of the Yadus from the surface of the earth is being mentioned. We'll just see these verses for today. Uddhava uvacha atate tadanujñata bhuktva pitva cha varunim tasya vibramshita jnana durukter marma pasprushu.
Thereafter, all of them, the descendants of Rishi and Boja, being permitted by the Brahmanas, partook of the remnants of prasadam and also drank liquor made of rice. By drinking, they all became delirious and bereft of knowledge. They touched the course of each other's heart with harsh words.
So, atate tadanujñata. After offering obeisances to all the Brahmanas, the Yadavas took the permission from Brahmanas, requesting that, my dear Brahmanas, if all of you are satisfied with our worship, now please give us the permission to accept the food remnants. So the boga offered to the Lord, then it was served to the Brahmanas. Then whatever was remained, the Yadavas now taking permission from the Brahmanas so that they could accept the remaining portion of the foodstuffs. So this is what is happening. And Tadanujñata also refers to, here Tat refers to sometimes the Supreme Lord. They also took the permission from Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna told all the Yadus, who are actually the Devata portions, and Lord Krishna gave them the permission, please accept it. So they accepted the food remnants of the Brahmanas. Then Lord Krishna told them to disappear from this world. Then all the Yadus disappeared from this world. This is what exactly happened, which is mentioned in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam. But in order to start Kali Yuga, Lord Krishna actually displayed a entire different scene. So what is that different scene is mentioned in the next part of the verse. That is, Bhuktva Pitva cha Varunim. They ate the foodstuffs, then they drank the Varuni, the liquor made from the rice. So they drank that Varuni to greater extent, too much, they became completely intoxicated. Taya Vibramshita Jnana, their knowledge, their understanding of who they are, they have completely forgotten. Then they began to utter durukti. They began to speak harsh words, which actually marma tadita, marma pasprushu. They touch the core of the heart of the opponent person whom they are shouting at. So being intoxicated by the drinking of this Varuni liquor, they began to criticize each other. They began to speak ill about each other. Those ill words, those criticisms are actually touching at the core of the heart. Then the other person also revolted with harsh words. Slowly they began to criticize each other. They shout at each other. They scream at each other. And eventually they took up weapons and began to fight with each other. And it is said that that mushal, that particular club, which keeping within their abdomen, the Yadukumaras went to the sages saying, decorating Samba at the woman, and they asked the sages that, what will be the son of this lady, whether boy or girl? The sages said, whoever is going to be born from this lady's abdomen will be the cause of your death. Then understanding this curse is not auspicious, under the direction of Ugrasen Maharaj, they grounded the mushal into powder. They threw that powder in the ocean. That ocean water, that powder along with the ocean water transported all the way up to Prabhas, from Dwaraka to Prabhas. And in Prabhas, it grew up like the canes. So after using all their weapons, when they are exhausted with weapons, they took all these canes. As soon as they plucked the weapon, the canes from the ocean bank, on the bank of the ocean, they became iron rods. And hitting with those iron rods, the Yadus killed each other. The fathers killed sons, sons killed fathers, brothers killed brothers, uncles killed nephews, nephews killed uncles. Like that, the whole scene has been displayed to the vision of the great sages so that they could compile in their literature, they could narrate to the people of this Kali Yuga so that this particular thing can be spread all over, with which the Kali Yuga will begin. That with that intention, Lord Krishna manifested this particular event appear to the vision of great sages. So that is mentioned in the next verse. Tesham maireya doshena
Yeah.
vishami krita chetasam nimlochati ravav aset venunam iva mardanam.
As by the friction of bamboos, destruction takes place, so also at sunset, by the interaction of the falls of intoxication, all their minds became unbalanced and destruction took place.
So here Maitra is taking, not Maitra, Uddhava is taking an example of forest fire. There is no possibility of a forest fire in the forest from any external source. Even with a matchstick, you cannot create forest fire in the forest. But the forest fire can take place with the bamboo sticks that are there in the forest. When two bamboo plants become dried, when they move because of the intense wind, when they move across by their crashing with each other, there will be fire. That fire will burn the entire forest. A forest fire can take place within the forest only. It cannot take place from the external sources. Same way, Lord Krishna thought that the Yadus are so powerful, no person from outside can kill the Yadus. The Yadus can only be killed among themselves. And also, in order to show to this world that all these days we were thinking that Lord Krishna, the Supreme Lord, the Yadus are pure devotees. And the last pastime shows that the Yadus themselves drank liquor. They began to criticize each other. In that criticism, they began to kill each other. They killed each other. What kind of devotees are they? What kind of Lord is he? He himself killed his own kinsmen. In order to create that kind of situation, Lord Krishna enacted this entire drama by which the Kali Yuga will start in the impious people, in adharmic people of this world. So that is how this fasting happened. Tesham Mairena Doshena Vishamīkrita Chetasam Nimlochati Rava Vasit. During the time of sunset, all the Yadus killed each other and the Yadus also set. That is being mentioned in this verse. So the Yadus, after lunchtime, in the afternoon, the Brahmanas fed lunch, then they ate lunch, and then they drank liquor. Then eventually they fought till the evening. At the time of sunset, all the Yadus were killed. Then Bhagavatam 11th canto explains that when the Yadus are killed, so being sad at the entire episode, Balramji sat on the bank of the ocean and transforming his form into a snake, he entered into the ocean. As Shesha, transforming himself as Shesha, he entered into the ocean. He also disappeared. Then witnessing everything, Lord Krishna somewhat satisfied, somewhat dissatisfied. He satisfied because the Yadus have been removed from the surface of the earth, that the pleasing burden also removed, and that's all. And Lord Krishna is also going to wind up his pastime. Bhagavan Swatma Mayaya Gatim Tam Avalokya Sa Saraswatim Upasprushya Vriksha Moolam Upavishat.
The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, after foreseeing the end of his family, by his internal potency, went to the bank of river Saraswati, sipped water, and sat down underneath a tree.
So then Lord Krishna understood that all his pastimes for which he came here, everything is completed. And having completed everything, it was evening. He touched the water of the Saraswati river. Then he sat at the root of the tree. Underneath a tree, there is a pipal tree, which is mentioned in the next verses. So he sat at the root of the tree. So Acharyas explained various meanings about it, etc., etc. But whatever it is, so Lord, by his internal potency, executed all this pastime. Basically, it says that Bhagavan Swatma Maya. This entire pastime happened by the display of his internal potency. Gatim Tam Avalokesa. In order to remove himself from the vision of this world. So now Lord Krishna is going to perform the pastime of his the winding up of his manifestation in this world. So he sat at the root of a tree. So that is being mentioned here. So whatever we discussed till now, everything is the manifestation of Lord Swatna internal potency. Here it is mentioned that because the Yadavas are eternal associates of the Supreme Lord, they will never be destroyed. And even the continuing posts of the Devatas such as Guha, Kartikeya, and Cupid, who had entered into Samba and others, should not be destroyed. That the whole Maushala pastime is illusory. Though it is illusory, since it is included in the pastimes of Krishna, it is accepted by the inconceivable Yogamaya, and it is considered one of the eternal pastimes existing even in the absence of the material creation. Though it is an illusory scene, but is also displayed by Lord Krishna as a pastime, it is also considered to be one of the pastime of Lord Krishna, and which is included in the Vedic literature as one of the pastimes displayed by Lord Krishna. And people treat it as Lord Krishna's Nitya. So with all these intentions, Lord Krishna performed this pastime.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So when this was happening, the Krishna was also there at Prabhas.
He was also fighting along with them.
He was also fighting along with them.
Krishna and Balaram were also fighting. Krishna and Balaram also killed all the Yadus.
Okay, so after all this was over, he went to the bank of the river Saraswati and sat underneath the tree.
Sorry?
This was happening at Prabhas when he sat down underneath that tree.
Yes.
Yes, no?
Can you repeat? This happened when?
No, where did this happen? At Pravas or at some other place?
Prabhas only.
Okay.
All these events are happening in Prabhas only. That's what we are discussing till now. So thus, Lord Krishna's pastimes ended. Then how Lord Krishna disappears will be explained in the 4th chapter. That is from 4th verse onwards, the remaining events, what all happened when Lord Krishna sat under the tree, that we will discuss next week.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhuji, from previous portion, whatever we have done, there are 2 doubts. Can I ask now? In the 2nd chapter, 7th verse purport, no, it is mentioned that as soon as one pastime is finished here, it is manifested in another universe, and thus his Nitya Leela or eternal pastimes are going on without ending. Does that mean that one pastimes ends here and it manifests in another Brahmanda? That means in multiple Brahmanda, Krishna's pastimes are going on simultaneously.
Yeah, you can take like that also, or you can take that Krishna appeared in our universe, performed 125 years past time, then he went into another universe, performed 125 years there, then went into another universe, performed 125 years there. Like that, Lord Krishna's pastimes are going on eternally.
My understanding was like that only, what you said, that after finishing here he goes to another Brahmanda, but because it is mentioned here that after one pastime is finished, it the same pastime is manifested in some other Brahmanda. That is why I was confused.
वो भी हो सकता है, because there are so many universes. There is a possibility that Lord Krishna's pastimes might be going on eternally. For example, Krishna killed Aghasur today here, and tomorrow he will kill Aghasura in the next universe. Day after tomorrow he will kill in the 3rd universe. Like that, daily pastimes also can happen in different universes consecutively. That is also possible.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. And one more thing, what we learned is Vrindavan Vasis were not knowing him as Lord also, because Dwarka Vasis, they were knowing him as Paramatma.
Yes.
And the Vrindavan Vasis were not knowing even that. They didn't accept him as Lord anywhere.
Yes,
But
yes.
like in Gopi Git, 4th verse, Gopis say that you are not the son of Yashoda, but you are the Antaratma Paramatma in everyone's heart. So, like, means Gopis at some stage they were knowing that he is the Paramatma, or how we understand it.
For that, you please read 10th canto. So what Acharyas have commented, Prabhupada and other Acharyas have commented on that particular verse, so that you kindly read, you will understand exactly. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Okay, then we'll stop here.
Thank you,
So,
Prabhuji.
okay. Grantara
Hare
Srimad
Krishna.
Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guruji.
Hare.